Welcome to another episode of the Biker PM. I'm your host, Anthony Pavlovich. Today I have with me Frederic Laforge. He is the co-founder and CEO of the Farmer's Truck. He's a serial entrepreneur with a background in product design for tech companies, and he's passionate about product design, branding, marketing, and he's been doing this for well over 10 years. Creative, resourceful, and an eternal optimist, he's not a guy that quits. Fred has been focused on the Farmer's Truck since its conception and implementation in 2015. So let's get started. Hi, Fred. Thank you for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. So let's start with you giving me a short introduction to yourself and the company and what you're doing, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. So my name is Frederic Laforge. I am the co-founder and CEO of the Farmer's Truck. Farmer's Truck is a social enterprise that's working with nonprofits and different entities to increase fresh food access as a means to increasing health in community.
I know you have some exciting things going on. So I want to get the business stuff out of the way so that we can focus on what is happening with the Farmer's Truck and the exciting news you have. We'll do a short full disclosure that we are working together. I'm working with you on helping you with your project management. Let me ask first, how were you running your projects in the past? We're switching you to Monday.com, and what difference do you see between the two?
Well, so my background way back in the day, I'm a product designer. So I've worked on project management tools. I've designed different time tracking tools, worked on some ERP systems, some very complex systems. And so I have a good understanding of project management, from the waterfall approach to the agile approach. I did my Scrum certification a while back. I worked mostly with tech companies from the last decade, I guess. For us as a small team, the goal is always to have as less management as we need. Management is a way to measure things and to make sure that you're going in the right direction. But when you're a small team, you can afford to have maybe less of a structure, more focusing on getting up and getting some stuff done. But as you grow a team and you start scaling, and especially now, because we're going to, the goal was always to be a 100% distributed team, our needs are different and we're scaling. And now I'm seeing that some stuff is falling through the cracks and we're hiring more people and more people get stuff on their plate. And we were at a point where we needed to have a solid structure and somebody to guide us through that. And so when we started working together and started learning about what you do, and you're passionate about social entrepreneurship. And we thought it was a really good fit. And now Monday seems to be a really good tool, not only for us internally to manage our projects, but also for our customers to be able to see where the production is with their vehicle. And that's an important part of the purchasing experience, or the customer experience for us. And so it's an investment for us internally, but also for our customers.
We're recording this during the time of COVID-19, where most people are locked down. And from getting to know you, you weren't even supposed to be where you're at right now. You were supposed to be traveling, and you're stuck kind of where you are.
Everybody has stories to say. Even my grandmother was diagnosed with COVID, but she's fine now. She went through it. But, there was a lot of scares and when the lockdown happened, we decided, okay, what do we do? And then the only thing I can think of is, okay, let's reduce our burn rate to as minimal as we can be for now until we figure out what is this going to look like in the next little while. Because at the beginning, it's very scary when you don't have an understanding of that virus and how it affects people and how it scales. And it just kept growing and growing. And next thing you know, it's in Canada and the US and it's everywhere around the world. So it was very, very, just as a person or a humankind, was a very complicated thing. But COVID has brought a lot of challenge, which brings a lot of innovation.
Exactly.
And innovation, coming from a tech background, is an exciting place to be, right? When you have all these challenges. And we're seeing these different startups like Hopin, which is this new platform for conferences, which is trying to mimic the conference experience with the booths and all that stuff, which is, I think we're at the early stage of embracing more of a virtual work setting across the world, right? Trying to adjust to that. But coming from a tech background, it wasn't too hard for me because I'm used to working remote. Most tech companies allow that, and they're quite progressive on that front. But for me to run a team and scale a business while having a distributed team is the challenge, and having you on board as has made us, and made me anyways, more confident that we're going in the right direction.
Well, thank you. Speaking of COVID, my mom actually got her first vaccine shot today, so I was happy about that. So
That's awesome.
I told her, you better get this shot if you ever want to see me again, because she lives in New York. I'm like, if you ever want to see me again, you have to have the shot. But I wanted to bring this up and lead it into what you have to talk about, because it is exciting. The pandemic has not only taught us how to work more remotely, how to embrace technology more, but it's also highlighted areas that the Farmer's Truck is trying to help in, which is food security and access to food. Mm-hmm. So talk to us about how, if at all, this changed your direction with what you're trying to do.
I think food insecurity has been around for, well, since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
We're at a point in our society where some countries, more privileged countries, wealthier countries, are trying to address these issues, these insecurities. As we're doing more study on food insecurity and the impact it has on your social economics and everything around it. And the root cause of all that is poverty, right? That's not going to go away anytime soon. But
the pandemic has actually increased some poverty. So, I mean,
yeah, and then we're seeing reports from some food banks that the demand increased threefold over the last year. And if we look at studies that was done on the Great Recession in 2009 and how that impacted the food insecurity and the food bank work, it took a decade to get back to pre-2009 levels.
Yeah.
So it skyrocketed, and then slowly they chipped away at it and they raised more money and they tried. And there's a deficit in the amount of, financial support that food insecurity organizations need to do their work. So I think that's changing, and it was changing before the pandemic, but now it's clearly getting the attention it needs, maybe not right away, or I guess the whole thing, but I mean, it's getting more financial support. More people are talking about it. When you see the lineups at the food bank for miles and miles, it's crazy. And you're like, okay, there's something we need to do. Like, there's no reason why a small child shouldn't eat every day a healthy meal. We're in America, there's resources everywhere, there's wealth. We have the 1% that increased their wealth so much. I mean, there's a lot to talk about and unpack about this, but that's the reality. So,
do you feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, and overworked? There's so much you need to do, but you don't know what the best way to do it is? And you're not sure where all your time goes each week? Jump on over to my website, pavproconsulting.com. You can download my free PDF, The 5 Proven Strategies to Steal Back Lost Time and Money in Your Business. And while you're there, you can book a free process discovery session, pavproconsulting.com. Move forward with confidence, focus, and productivity. Yeah. And when you talk about those lines at food banks, and there are the people that can't get to it, which is part of what you're hoping to solve with this venture. So before we start talking about what is coming up, what have you accomplished so far with this venture?
So we started in 2015 as a mobile market truck. Our vision is me and my partner back in the day. He is a young farmer and was looking for ways to get his product to market. I grew up on the farm, and I enjoy the idea of sharing harvest and celebrating food. And I thought, well, what if we can partner together and create some sort of a mobile farmer's market? And the farmer's truck was created. And so we bought an old perlator step van that we modified ourselves on the farm with local lumber yard that we got the wood from. We wrapped the whole thing ourselves. We had $25,000 to get started and to launch the whole initiative. And that includes the pickup truck, everything, right? So it was quite a challenge, but then the first year went by and we realized, we had a really good sales during the time we were operating. It's a seasonal business here. And then so the next year we figured out, well, maybe it's time to really scale this up. And what do we need to scale this up? And so we designed a second mobile market, but this one was really in the focus of scaling this, trying to figure out a truck model that would appeal to more of a broader audience, in the sense that the way we've designed things anyways. In 2017, we launched an online store, but for us, it was a challenge to get financial support. Being a social enterprise, and on paper, we're a for-profit business, but essentially we're in the middle of a nonprofit and a for-profit road where a lot of our work, or 100% of our work, it's all about our mission. It's our guiding light. Where are we going? Well, we're trying to help people get access to fresh food. So the truck, the mobile market truck, is a tool. It's one of the pieces of the puzzle. There's many different ways. And so we're looking at a broad view of products and services we can design and develop to empower these organizations to do food security outreach and initiatives. That's what we're at today. Today, we've basically designed a mobile market truck that is affordable, that is well designed for the purpose ergonomically from the operator's perspective, and a good shopping experience for the customer, trying to bring more dignity and pride into accessing these services. So removing the stigma around food access, and especially if you're struggling and you're a low-income family, it's trying to give them a chance to feel, especially if these kinds of initiatives are for the community as a whole, not specifically for low-income individuals. It removes some of the stigma anyways. And now we're about to, and I don't know if we want to talk about that right now or jump into it, but
Yeah, let's jump into it. But how many trucks have you done so far? How many trucks are out there in the market?
As far as orders go, as of today, we are at 19 trucks. As far as delivering the trucks, we have one truck and delivered in California, and we have a handful that's on the way that's processing right now with the import. And we have right now, we're trying to get our cadence to figure out the manufacturing and make sure we have enough staff, and trying to get it's really important. That's something I'm learning with manufacturing. Cadence is really important to be able to manage your costs and your cash flow. Spikes and rivers and valleys, or peaks and valleys, are really complicated to deal with, especially at that size, and we're a small startup.
So you have a few that are getting out there in the market. So now let's jump into what's about to come, the exciting venture that you're going to tell us about.
So fast forward to February 2020, just before the pandemic, we started a conversation with a social impact investor out of the West Coast in the US, based in California, discussing about mobile markets. They are interested in seeing if they can support that new industry, seeing if there's something that can be done. We've talked about all of the efforts that we've been doing, including the Mobile Market Summit that we've been working with the Veggie Van out of the University of Buffalo, with the Mobile Market Coalition, which is us basically trying to reach out to as much mobile market that are existing and try to see if we can help, or at least understand their pain points, so we can try to figure out some tools or things that we can provide to them and make their life easier. When we made that pitch, turns out they were all in on trying to help us get that moving. And so we prepared a business plan for the launch, and we pitched that we would launch mobile markets in California, which is the area that the social impact investor wants us to focus, specifically the Central Valley. And so we're launching what we call the Farmer's Truck Pilot. It's a 12-month pilot. We're going to launch 3 mobile markets in Central Valley, California. We're launching the request for interest shortly in February, probably before this airs, I'm assuming. And we're quite excited because this means that we have a financial partner that are supportive to what we're trying to do. We have project partners like the University of Buffalo and Fresh Approach out of San Francisco, which operates mobile markets, to help us really get this off the ground. And the vision is, if we're successful at proving that we can launch these mobile markets and being financially sustainable to a certain degree, we're going to scale this across the US. And that's the most exciting part. So by the end of this year, if things are going well and pandemic doesn't come up with another virus or something, we should be able to, by September or sometime in the fall, we're going to be scaling this across the US. So this is kind of our runway, if you will. And we're super excited, and we're building the team, we're scaling the team. And it's been a dream. It's a dream come true for us, because that's the mission. And also we have the tools and the means to do it. So it's a game changer for us.
So what are we doing with the launch? I understand that there's the launch coming. What are you asking for in your request for interest?
So we work primarily with nonprofits, and they're usually community food banks, or working in the food security world. The goal is to empower them, to give them all the tools, which includes training, coaching, online courses, tools that we're developing specifically for the operation. We're building a dashboard where they'll be able to see not only their sales and impact from a financial standpoint, but also some more subjective impact, which is measuring the individuals and the customer that they're serving, and see if they're So we're building like a loyalty program around that to be able to measure the, fruit and vegetable consumption is one of the KPIs we're looking at, and trying to get as much as we can without being intrusive. It's kind of that fine line, but all the data we're gathering is non-identifiable data. We're not putting names or anything like that. So, and the goal is really to be able to focus on your community. So if you're interested in doing a mobile market in your community and you're located in Central Valley, California, reach out to us. We can help you set up. We'll give you the training. We'll coach you through. We'll launch the mobile market with you. We'll be there with you, and we'll give you the tools you need to be successful. And it is a pilot, so things will change as we go. Yeah. That's understandable, I guess. But yeah.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Biker PM. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And remember, if you're an entrepreneur that wants to be with like-minded individuals and improving their project management skills, join the Biker PM Facebook group. Until next time.